filming? Yeah. Hello again. So I want to chat about two things today. Today is a clearance day for me, which means I'm going to go through my shelves and pull a lot of pottery to put into clearance. And I wanted to show you sort of my process on why some things ended up in clearance, because I always have a disclaimer there that read the notes, make sure, because sometimes things have small flaws. I try to be very critical with pottery. I know it's expensive and I wouldn't want to send you a piece that I wouldn't want to get in the mail. I sometimes miss things. And a lot of these things, honestly, are not flaws and they're not second quality worthy, but they're noticeable enough for me that I think it's important to discount them and acknowledge that. So I'm going to show you a few extra things. But first I want to talk a little bit about pricing, because I'm sort of going to dig in my heels the opposite way. Right now there's so much pressure to raise prices, and with everything that's going on, it just seems to be one more heavy issue, sort of like, I think about the military and they wear these rucksacks and they got to hike with them. And I feel like it's like putting another one on, another 60 pounds, another 60 pounds. And at some point, how much can you carry? I have not wanted to raise prices. I have on a few small things, but for the most part, I'm going to actually dig in my heels and lower prices by putting a lot in clearance. That's my best way of dealing with things. So we have the dollar that is decreasing in value. We're not doing so well against the euro, against the zloty, and dollar, values fluctuate over the years. We had a number of really good years, and so what goes up must come down, and that's what happens. Normally, though, over time, we tend to be 4-1, and right now I think we're trading. I think yesterday was 3.71 to the dollar, which is not so good, but it's okay. Again, dollar goes up, dollar goes down. I could handle that. Tariff issue. So our tariffs, our customs duty, used to be as cheap as 6.8%, and then it went up. There were a few products that were in the 12% range, but that was pretty rare. So 6.8 to 12% depended on what the item was. So an item that is a baker versus an item that doesn't touch food and is just decorative is a completely different value, and you would have to go through, and you have tariff codes and all of these things. Then the 15% came along, and while it was more expensive, in some ways it made it easier because you didn't have to have individual codes necessarily if you had a smaller shipment. So on a pallet, I could get away with not doing the individual codes, and they just do a flat 15% across the board. But then the Supreme Court ruling happened, and I don't know the logistics of this. I have a good friend who's a broker. I need to call and pick his brain a little bit. But all of a sudden, they struck down what was happening with the 15%, but the administration enacted something else with tariffs. And so now I'm being charged 20.8%. I don't know why. I know this is only a 3-month thing, but so there's that. So that's gone up even more. So now I'm paying double what I was before. And I got really lucky. I got 3 shipments in last week. They all sort of came in together, the flowers and a couple pottery. It was a lot of stuff, and I got very fortunate because it had already been packed and picked up by the shipper and was headed on its way the day after we bombed Iran. So it was already en route. I already had the price for the shipping. There were no fuel surcharges. None of that had happened yet. There was no time for it. So I skirted right under that radar. That won't happen with the next one. And so I'm very, very nervous about what's coming down the pike with that. And we will see. And so it's getting harder and harder and harder to resist raising prices. And so far I haven't. I've kept shipping normally where it is. We used to charge a lower flat rate. In the last 2 or 3 years though, I've upped it. And it still doesn't cover shipping. Even if you have an order and you're paying $24.95 for shipping, I guarantee you I'm still supplementing that. Especially if you're at that means you've bought more pottery, it gets heavier. I get people all the time who email me and they will say, well, this site gives free shipping. Okay, on rare occasions we'll do free shipping. But you need to remember, free shipping isn't free. Someone's paying for that. And while they might have some pieces that are lower priced, across the board, you're probably going to pay more. And not every small business can do that. I mean, and so if that means you don't shop with them, then that's okay. I'm okay with that because, you know, you can't make everybody happy. So I do not do free shipping as a rule, but occasionally I will offer it as a special, maybe once a year or something like that. But it's very difficult to do. It's an enormous expense. I spend thousands of dollars a month on shipping, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway, okay. So that aside, that's what's happening with pricing. And if you see things in other places going up, that's what's happening. You're hitting with the dollar, the tariffs, and now the oil prices and shipping, which is going to trickle down into many, many facets of our life, unfortunately. I have to fill up my car today. Thankfully, I don't drive too much, but the last time I went out to get gas, or I had to go meet Peter out at the marina, and I passed the gas station, and I literally had to stop and pull over. And if you're on my Facebook, I posted a picture of this on my personal Facebook of the gas station, and the regular gas, not premium, the regular gas was $5.69 a gallon, and the diesel was $6.69 or six. Could have been $6.89. It was up there. It was over $6.50 a gallon for sure. Diesel. I mean, and that was a week ago. So I'm very interested to see what it's going to cost for me. My tank is just under half, but you know, every day you wait, it's just going to go more and more. You might as well throw some money in the garbage if you don't fill up today. So I'm going to go do that, which is going to be fun. So, you know, have pity on us small business owners. There's a lot of expenses going on, and I think most people are trying to do the right thing. They're not trying to gouge anybody, but they're still trying to keep afloat. And a lot of this stuff, you know, it's easy to say, well, scale back on your purchasing. The problem is this stuff was ordered over a year ago. And so the factory's still going to make it. And so it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. I have an obligation to follow through with my commitment of that purchase, regardless of what the price of gas is or shipping is or where the dollar's at or any of that. So I can't just scale back on ordering because it's been ordered for a very long time. So that's where that is. Okay, so let's move on from all of that business and talk a little bit about clearance, because this weekend I'm going to focus on a big push of things into clearance. I need to clear space on these shelves. I always talk about how I'm running out of space, but I'm literally running out of space. And I'm constantly having to dig through these piles when things are selling and finding things. So I would actually rather have less. I've asked Peter to make me more room in here, but it's getting a little difficult. And we have another bay, by the way, over there, aside from all of this. So there's more over there. Okay, so I've got some new things that are going to go in clearance. These will go in today. And by the time this video goes up, these should be online. But I wanted to show you, and I want to show you. So we have new pumpkins this year. Let's talk about this first. I am so excited because this year, the factory, Artistichna, has come out with finally, Halloween-themed stuff. And it's spectacular. I don't have an example of the pattern that's coming that's bats. And it's got a very, from the sample that I saw, it's got a very Van Gogh-like quality to the look of it. And it's dark, and the bats are gorgeous, and it's got a big moon in it. And my daughter loves bats, and so of course, then I love bats, and I'm super excited. I don't have a piece yet, but I'm anxiously waiting. And the question is, do I let any of it come out before the Halloween season begins, which for me is in August, or do I let some out and hold some back? I don't know. When it gets here, I think I'm going to be too excited. I'm probably going to have to show it off. So there's also a new pumpkin shape. There's actually two new pumpkin shapes. One of them is they're both similar in size. One is slightly bigger and maybe a little bit wider, and the other one is more narrow and just a little bit shorter. But they're both about 11 inches tall. I kept with the less expensive one. The other one is extraordinarily more expensive. So I didn't even bother with that one. But they're very similar look. They've got a plate under them. I believe they're luminaries. They do have faces. For those of you who keep wanting a pumpkin from Artistichna with no face, that's not happening this year. Maybe next year they'll add something, but it's just a pumpkin. That would be nice. But They're jack-o'-lanterns, they all have faces. And these have hats. And they're just the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I have a lot of those coming. And I have more dragons coming, which aren't really Halloween, but the dragons are coming. I got lucky and they sent me 4, but that's all I've seen so far. It's been crickets. And so, we also have these. So they still make this. This is the one they've had for years. They used to have a smaller version of it. They discontinued the smaller version. And now they just have the larger, which I believe is D40 in the catalog. And so I'm going to put a couple of pumpkins in clearance because even though they have a new pumpkin coming out, I still got new patterns coming in. So for example, I'm not selling this, but I will show you. So this is one of the new pumpkins in this. I know this is 5238. This is the new Liana Emerald Isle green version. Isn't he beautiful? So this is not for sale. This will wait until the Halloween season, but I have new ones like this coming. So I'm going to move out some of the older ones that either there's just one left or they weren't a big seller. Okay, so this is one of them that's going to go into clearance. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just time to move them out. They're nice, but it's time to move them out. Oh, he's got tape on his nose. All right, I will get that off. So you're gonna see a number of pumpkins. You're gonna see this. This is my last one. This is going in clearance. I would normally not clearance this, but a customer bought one this week, and I happened to notice, I don't even know if I can catch this on camera, that there is a series of glaze skips in there. Yeah, it's on, little birdie. I know I can feel it. It's right in there. And while glaze skips are not indicative of a flaw that means you can't use it, this can still go in the dishwasher, it can still go in the oven, it can still be used in every single way. But customers get really antsy with stuff like this. So I don't want to put it in clearance, but I'm going to because I feel like that's an obvious enough thing. And like I said, I try to be critical because if I were the buyer, I might think, they should have noticed that. So anyway, again, rated first. That will be in there. My little ghosties, my sweet little ghosties. I don't want to put any in clearance, but this little guy, I don't even know why he was packed. I don't know why he was given a first quality sticker. Second quality only means it's aesthetic, okay? It's not anything that will affect the use of your pottery. It's not a fundamental flaw. There is a shop online, and I'm not going to name them. I know many people, I've seen people that shop with me are fans of them. They're in Poland, and they frequently will show a video of their inventory. They'll put it to music or whatever. And a lot of it's artisticina. They have other stuff too, but you will see pieces sitting on amongst their stuff, quite a few pieces with red stickers. You'll see green, which is second quality, and then you'll see red, okay? And they never qualify those things by saying that they're fourth quality. They're fourth quality pieces that they obviously bought from the factory store, and they have serious flaws. You cannot use them. They are not rated safe to use in your oven. You are using them at your own peril. And so be careful when you're buying online. If you see a red sticker, make sure you ask about it, and if they tell you, oh, there's no flaw to it, I don't know why, that's not true. You can say that frequently with the green, because the green is second, and green can often be just a paint blob somewhere, or a small glaze skip. Unless you can find it, you don't know what it is. But again, green is completely safe to use in any manner. Red is not. Red is not. So be careful with that. Anyway, so this little ghostie was rated at first, but as you can see, they were a little sloppy. They were a little sloppy. He's got a black eye. Poor little guy. Poor little guy. So anyway, he's going to go in. He's going to go in the clearance. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. So these bakers I just got in. These are it's not a new shape for the factory. It's just a new shape for my store. I try to add a couple of new shapes that I don't normally carry into the store every year. So this year I did these. I did pie servers. I did a number of boxes, which are new to the catalog. And what else did I do? I'm not really sure. I can't think of them all. I'm sure there is something here that I added that's new. Anyway, so, batter bowls, and bundt pans, another one, bundt pans. Anyway, so this one though, I noticed when I took it out, nothing wrong with it per se. It's rated at first, but it has, this is the example I was telling you. See the paint splattering there? Not a big deal, but this would bother somebody. If you bought this and I sent it to you, I think that would bother somebody. Some people would be fine with it, but I don't really want to take that chance. And so it's going to go in clearance, unfortunately. So you're going to see some butter bells in there this week. And this is actually kind of sort of funny. I mean, not really funny, but it is funny. I sometimes mess up numbers, will mix them up. And when I was doing my order last year for mortars and pestles, which are 380s, for some reason in my head, I always get the number mixed up with these, which I think is 270. And so on the order form, I accidentally put this number for the mortars. And thank God I only ordered 6 of each, but now I've got dozens of these, and I don't carry this shape, and I don't have the room for them, so I'm going to put a bunch of them in clearance. Absolutely nothing wrong with them. It's just something I ordered by accident. I'll keep a few in the store, but the rest of them I really would like to recapture that space because it was meant for mortars. I have one of these coming in clearance. They didn't catch this when they sent it to me, but there's a tiny little, like if somebody had a metal tool and they made an impression, it looks like a crack, but it's not a crack, but it's an impression, and then it was glazed over, and so it's got that sort of like a little nick. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. You can use it in every way, but there is that. I almost didn't notice it, but I did. So this is, these are also going in clearance. This is an example of, I'm going to call it lazy painting. Generally, I like what Artistichna does, but I have from time to time noticed, a la the ghost, that people, it seems a bit rushed, and so mistakes happen, right, in the painting. It's just a painting flaw, but they let it slide. These are things that should have gone for sale in the store and never been sent to me, but they sent them. They made that choice. So these are just U408 plates. I ordered all 4 colors. And generally speaking, the greens, the oranges, and the reds, beautiful. And the blues are typically beautiful. But I have come to discover that there are certain artists that maybe this is not the pattern they should be painting. So these are going into clearance, nothing wrong with them, but they're not painted quite the way I have come to expect of 408. So you may love them and think that they're whimsical or artsy, whatever, that's great, and you'll get a great discount on them. But for me, I feel like if someone came on the website and ordered a 408 plate, and if I sent them that, I just feel like I would be doing them a disservice. It's not right. So they're going to go in clearance. I don't like to do that because, again, I paid full price for them. And so clearancing them out means they're going for wholesale, which means, you're not really making any money on them. But I'd feel better doing that. So I have a lot more coming to clearance. I just have to dig around. I've got a whole thing stacked behind me there that has to be dealt with today. So you're going to see a lot of stuff coming to clearance, and I hope you find some great pieces because there's really some great deals in there. And I don't know what the future is as far as the price of pottery. I know it's very expensive, and I'm very, very grateful. I'm very, very grateful to my customers and the people who choose to buy through my store. I know you have choices. I know a lot of you also shop with other people, which is great. I am a big believer that there's enough business for everybody. And I love seeing small business try to make a go of it. It's a difficult business to break into. Very difficult, very difficult. And when you're trying to navigate all of the things that are happening in the world as they affect you from a business standpoint, much less a personal standpoint, it's even harder. So whenever somebody buys from me, I'm very cognizant that they have choices. And I appreciate every order that comes through, every single one. Doesn't matter if you buy one little flower that costs $9 or you buy a pumpkin that costs $400. Yes, there are some pumpkins that cost $400. Not all of them, but some. And I appreciate it. So thank you. And as always, I want to remind you, as always, oh, this is another thing, by the way, coming into clearance. As always, if there is something that you want that you can't find or you've been looking for, stop wasting time. Let me know. I can, if it's from Artistichna, I can order it directly. As long as the shape is in production and the pattern is in production, I can order it. Like if you like this shape, but you don't like any of the patterns we have, and you want it in, oh, this one's cute. I should have ordered this one. I didn't. But if you want it in this one, say, I think this one is 5098. Nope, 5097. One off. There's two of these. They have a sister pattern. But you want this baker in this pattern, stop wasting time looking for it. I'll just order it for you. Super easy. And every year they cut patterns and shapes. So if you've been looking for something for a long time, don't wait, because they've made some really crazy decisions when it comes to patterns and cutting them out. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you later, and hopefully you find some great things in the clearance section.